Is anime becoming like Hollywood? More sequels, more safe choices, less risk. Because just like Hollywood relies on remakes, anime is starting to rely heavily on adaptations. But here's the part no one wants to admit. Fans might be the reason this is happening.
What the hell you say?
Now before you close this video, this isn't an anime is dying take. Anime is absolutely not dying. As a matter of fact, it's thriving. Anime is bigger than it has ever been. More shows per season, more global reach, more streaming money flowing into the industry than ever before. So this isn't a doom and gloom conversation. It's more a very specific question. Because when you look at what's actually being made, and more importantly, what keeps getting greenlit, you would notice a very interesting pattern. And that pattern looks a lot like something we have already watched happen somewhere else.
What the hell are you talking about?
Think about Hollywood for a second. At some point in the last couple of decades, studios stopped taking big swings on original ideas. Instead, you keep getting sequels, reboots, cinematic universes, adaptations of comic books, novels, old TV shows. The logic was simple. Why invest in an unproven idea when you can build on something that already has an audience? The risk drops, the profit potential stays high, and audiences, at least initially, show up anyway. Now, does that sound familiar to you? Because anime is basically following the same pattern.
What?
The industry right now is dominated by manga adaptations, light novel adaptations, sequel seasons of already successful shows, and isekai.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
Now, before you click off this part of the video, adaptations aren't inherently bad. Some of the greatest anime ever made are based off of anime, or I should say, manga adaptations. Full Metal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter, Berserk, the list goes on and on. But there's a difference between adapting great source material and adapting anything with a built-in fan base because it feels like a guaranteed return. And that's where the Hollywood comparison starts to bite.
He's out of line, but he's right.
To understand why this is happening, you have to understand how anime gets made. And I'm sure many of you are aware of this, but it involves production committees, multiple investors pooling money together, each one expecting a return on their investment. And in that environment, original anime is a gamble. You're pitching an idea with no existing fan base, no proven sales numbers, no guarantee anyone outside the room has ever heard of these characters before. Now compare that to adapting a manga that already has 5 million plus readers. Those readers are a built-in audience. They're already invested in the characters. They'll watch the adaptation, buy the merchandise, and generate enough online discussion to pull in viewers who have never read the source material. From a business perspective, it's not even close. And that is exactly what Hollywood figured out years ago. A film based on a beloved comic book or a particular book starts with an audience already in its corner. An original script has to build that from scratch. So the industry defaults to what's proven every time. Now I want you to think about original anime that shaped the medium. Neon Genesis Evangelion, Code Geass, Cowboy Bebop, Gurren Lagann. These weren't adaptations, they were original stories, ideas that existed nowhere else. Built from the ground up by creators who had something specific to say. And because they weren't tied to existing source material, the creative teams had complete freedom to do something genuinely unexpected. That freedom is what made these shows feel like events. Not just good anime, but experiences that change how people thought about the medium. Now ask yourself this question. When was the last time an original anime hit that kind of cultural moment? It's harder to answer than it should be. Not because studios have stopped making original anime entirely, they haven't, but the conditions that allow truly bold original work, creative freedom, financial backing, risk tolerance, those are quietly shrinking.
We have a problem!
Now here are where things get uncomfortable, because the studios aren't actually the one responsible for this. Fans say they want originality. Go into any anime community forum or Twitter or Reddit, wherever it may be, and you'll find someone complaining about the flood of generic isekai, about battle shonen that follow the same exact formula, about adaptations that add nothing new to the source material. The complaints are real, the frustration is genuine, but then the seasonal chart drops, and the most watched shows are probably the isekai, the shonen adaptations, and the sequel seasons of already established series. And that's not hypocrisy exactly, it's just human nature.
No! It's just dumb.
Familiar things feel safe, they're easy to engage with. You know what you're getting, and you know how to talk about them with other fans. Original anime asks more from the viewer. It asks you to invest in something unknown, to trust a story that hasn't proven itself yet. And in a media landscape where there are more shows than any person could ever watch, that requirement is harder to meet. So viewers default to what they know. The industry responds to what viewers consume, and the cycle continues. The market is just reflecting what fans are actually choosing, not what they say they want. Yeah. Now here's the thing. This doesn't mean creativity in anime is dead. It isn't. Every season there are original projects getting made. Small studios betting on unconventional ideas, directors using adaptation projects to sneak in creative choices that push boundaries, and sometimes those bets pay off in a big way. The issue isn't that creativity has disappeared. The issue is that creativity is increasingly surviving.
What do you mean by that?
In the margins, in the gaps between the safe bets, rather than sitting at the center of the industry. And those margins are fragile. When the financial pressure intensifies, when investors want lower risk and faster returns, those margins shrink first.
Okay.
So here's our final thought on this. Anime isn't becoming Hollywood overnight, and it isn't running out of creativity, but it is becoming more and more profit-driven, more calculated, more dependent on what's already been proven to work. And the fans who keep asking for something new while continuing to reward what's familiar are part of what keeps that cycle going. It's just how markets work. But if you and I genuinely want to see more original anime, more bold swings, more stories that exist nowhere else, then the most direct thing we could do is actually show up for them. Watch the original projects, talk about them, recommend them, give them the same energy we would give adaptations. Because the industry follows attention, and attention is the one thing fans actually control. So again, anime isn't dying, it's the industry is choosing safer profits over riskier ideas. And until that risk becomes worth taking again, that's the anime landscape we're going to keep getting. So thanks for watching, and that's it. I'm gone.